During the next section of the video, we will be reviewing D2L briefly, as well as going over the syllabus. As you can see up here at the top, right now I'm reviewing section 801 of Educational Psychology. If you're watching this and you're in section 802, that's okay. These two courses are identical, so everything that I'm saying now for 801 is still true for section 802. So here on your front page, you will see announcements. Periodically, I will post announcements to remind you guys about upcoming due dates, to convey important information. Typically, when I am wanting to convey important information to you guys, I will post it in multiple places. So I will try to post it in the announcement section. I will try to send you an email, and I will also try to post it in the description of that week's module. If you ever have any questions about anything, I implore you to contact me either via email or by posting in the general course discussion board, which I will show you in a few seconds. So the bulk of course content is under the Content tab. Here you will see different modules of information that I have put together for you guys. So for example, the first module is entitled Course Resources. This is a very important module for you guys to interact with and get to know, because within the Course Resources module are the course syllabus, the course calendar, different rubrics for assignments that you'll be completing, as well as the general course discussion board. There are also links to different applications that will benefit you from having during this course. So QuickTime Media Player, you need to be able to view videos on whatever computer you're using during this course. Most of the videos will be via YouTube. You should also have the ability to view PDFs. And if you ever have any issues with D2L in particular, or with technology, IT support here at IUP is fantastic. So you just need to click this link, send them an iHelp ticket, and they will get on their way to helping you. Of course, you may also reach out to me, but sometimes with the mechanics of D2L, there are things that are out of my hand. But I would also like to be kept in the loop when you're experiencing difficulties, particularly if they're causing a barrier to you turning in your assignments. On the note of assignments, please do look at these rubrics. Rubrics are pretty much the key to how you will be successful on various assignments. So for example, at the end of the class, you will be required to reflect on everything you've learned during the semester and how you are integrating that new information into your own personal educational philosophy, and I want you to write a paper on that. So again, this isn't due until the end of the semester, but it's beneficial to begin thinking about it now as you're about to embark upon learning everything that you'll be writing about in your paper. So as you can see with the educational philosophy paper rubric, it lays out what you need to include in your paper and how many points correspond to it. So for example, later in class, we're going to be talking about different learning theories. So for this section of your paper, to earn the full 6 points, you'll need to reflect on the learning theories that we talk about in class, so classical conditioning, operant conditioning, social learning theory, etc., or the parts of those theories that contribute to your own teaching philosophy. And within the paper, you will need to convey what you've learned in this class about the theory, as well as why you ascribe to it, what makes you buy into it, and doing that will earn you 6 points. And the same is true for each of the boxes and each of the rubrics that I've included for this class. A large component of this class will be participating in discussion boards. So I do have a discussion board rubric that I will upload. It's just not here right now. My apologies, but do take a look at that because you'll see on that rubric that not only are you required to create one original post, but you're also required to reply to 2 of your peers' posts. And we'll talk more about that later. All right, so the course resources, very important. Take a look at that. I've also included some crash course study skills lessons for you guys. So if you're ever in a bind and you're thinking, well, I really would like to learn more about how to effectively take notes, or I'm really having trouble planning and organizing all of the tasks that I have to do this semester, then these videos are extremely useful tools. Something that we'll talk about in this semester is how oftentimes in schools study skills are not explicitly taught, which is a real shame because study skills are incredibly important and are linked to academic success. So if you feel like you haven't been explicitly taught them, please do use these videos. They're actually really fun. If you've heard of Crash Course Psychology or any of the other Crash Course videos, they're made by the same company. And they are evidence-based lessons on what research shows to be most effective with all of these subcategories that are related to study skills. Another important module is how to find classroom observation videos. We'll be going over the rubric in a few minutes, so all of these assignments will be laid out within the rubric with their corresponding due dates, but I just wanted to point this out to you really fast before we jump into that. So a component of this class will be watching observations. You'll be making observations of videos that are filmed in classrooms and then writing a paper on it. Historically, some students have found finding the classroom observation videos a little tricky, so I have written down explicit instructions of how to find them. There's also a narrated guide for finding these videos where somebody has filmed themselves walking through the steps that you need to do in order to find them. Additionally, I've created a screenshot step-by-step guide to help you find these videos. So if you're having difficulty finding any of the videos when completing this assignment, number 1, try to find the videos early on in the week. I do not suggest, especially when trying to find your first video, that you wait until Saturday to do it, because in the past, students that have done that typically run into technology issues and then are really frantic because they would like to complete the video but are having a lot of trouble finding it, and shoot me an email or 10 emails saying, hey, what can I do? And unfortunately, I'm not available all the time on Saturdays, particularly in the evening. So, moral of the story, I implore you to try to find the classroom observation videos early on in the week so that if you are struggling with finding them, I can help you out, whereas late Saturday night, I will not be able to help you out in finding the videos. And these multiple instructions are a really great place to start if you're having difficulty. So I would definitely recommend you use this guide prior to emailing me as well. So my D2L looks a little bit different than yours because I'm looking at it through the instructor view. But you'll see that we have all these modules that correspond to weeks in the course. So each week, a new module will open up on Sunday at midnight. This week's is opening up on Tuesday, obviously because that's the first day of class, but all other weeks will open up on that corresponding Monday. So within the module, you'll see always that there will be a description of what you need to do, and then there will be links to help you do that. So, for example, this week, the first week, you are required to watch 3 videos, and you'll want to watch these videos all the way through for the chance at a bonus opportunity. I also ask you to review the syllabus, and then you will be making a post within the Introduce Yourself to Classmates discussion board, following the instructions that I've listed. And to thoroughly complete the activity for 20 points, you will also need to reply to 2 of your peers' posts. So that's 10 points for your original post and 5 points for each of your responses to your peers. Additionally, each week you'll be reading a chapter out of the assigned Slavin text. In the syllabus and in the welcome email I sent to you guys, I talked about the textbook a little bit more. So the required textbook is actually an ebook, which is $30 and should be pretty easy for you guys to procure. However, if you're one of those people that really needs a physical copy of the book, you are welcome to buy that as well. It just might be a little bit more expensive. So make sure that you're reading the chapters each week, because the contents of the chapters are what you will be quizzed on. All right, so now, as promised, let's get looking into the syllabus. And again, if you're in section 802 watching this, don't worry, all of the content between the 2 classes is exactly the same, so I feel confident using this video for you guys as well. So here is my email, here is my office. Because I'm teaching online sections of this course this semester, I will have office hours by appointment to make myself the most flexible for you guys as I can. I didn't want to set specific hours where, I might not be available for some people, but rather if you would ever like to meet with me, just shoot me an email and we will schedule a meeting whenever it's convenient for both of us. I've talked about many of the important highlights of the syllabus, but let's take a look through. So let's look at course evaluation. So this section talks about all the assignments you will need to do during this semester to be successful in this course. As we talked about, you will be completing discussion board posts. There will be 5 total for 100 points available to be earned, 20 points per discussion board. Remember, with these discussion boards, you're required to create 1 original post that fulfills all of the criteria described within the description of the discussion board, as well as post a response to 2 of your peers. You'll be taking 4 quizzes on D2L under the quiz tab this semester, 25 points each. The content within the quizzes will correspond to the content of the chapters you'll be reading in the book. The classroom observation reflections, there are 5 of them. We will be watching them in this order, starting at 10 best teaching practices and ending at celebrating diversity. Forewarning, 10 best teaching practices is the longest video by far. It's about 1 hour and 20 minutes long. I did this on purpose so you guys could watch this video and get it out of the way at the beginning of the semester when hopefully you don't have a whole lot going on in your other classes. And these other videos are between 20 to 30 minutes each, so much shorter. So don't freak out when you're watching 10 best teaching practices thinking all the other videos will be the same. It won't, I promise. So again, directions for finding the video. After you watch the video, you'll be required to write and submit a 1 to 2 page reflection on the video. There is a rubric specifically outlining exactly what you need to include in that reflection to gain full points. I advise you, even if something is not explicitly shown in the video that is on the rubric, just say it wasn't shown in the video, and that will be sufficient. We talked about the educational philosophy paper and briefly went over that rubric. That's not due until the end of the semester. And then the last important piece to talk about are the check for understanding submissions. So each week you guys are going to watch a lecture that I've recorded. You may also be asked to read some outside articles or watch outside videos that are intended to supplement the course content. within the lecture that I record, a check for understanding activity will be embedded. What that means is that you will have to watch through the entire recorded lecture, which I will try to keep between 30 to 40 minutes each week. You'll watch through the entire lecture and find the questions that are embedded at different points during the video. Once you have found these questions, or while you're finding them, you will answer them and submit them by the due date located in the course calendar here on D2L. So it's you guys' understanding. It's early in the morning here when I'm recording this. It's your responsibility, my apologies, to watch through the entire video and find the questions and answer them. And I know that you guys will be responsible students and will watch through the lectures anyway, but this is a way for me to check in with you to A, make sure that you have watched the lecture, but B, make sure that you have learned what I want you to learn from the lecture and that I have adequately taught you. And having you complete these questions allows me to get a glimpse into where your level of understanding is with a concept, so that if I need to, I can go back and reteach. So these check for understanding submissions, although they may not always be super fun to do, are really important for me to be able to gauge where you are in the learning process and try to make this online delivery of content the most effective that it can be for each of you. All right, now that I can get off my soapbox. So this is a breakdown of all the points that are available, how to get an A, how to get a B, whatever you guys are trying to get in this class. You need to get X amount of points to get this percentage range and so on and so forth. I will not round grades. I know. Even if you have an 89.98, I will not be rounding just to make it fair for everyone. These are also really important. I would like you guys to read this over on your own, except for grading / late assignments. All right, I will go over this one. So, assignments are due on their assigned dates. All assigned dates can be found in many places. You can find them in the course calendar, located both in the syllabus and on its own on D2L under the course resources tab. You will find the due dates on D2L itself corresponding to the assignments. If you ever have a question about the due date, check the syllabus course calendar first because it will be the most accurate, or send me an email and I will clarify. So any assignments that are submitted after the due date will result in an automatic 10% grade deduction per day. And exceptions will only be made in the cases where students have appropriate documentation. So if you're sick, a note from the health center. If you have a concussion, a note from the health center and your coach. If you have a family member who's ill, and that's prohibiting you from submitting your assignment, I need some written verification that that is actually the case and you guys aren't, trying to pull one over me just to get a couple more days on your assignment. And that being said, if you check in with me before the day that the assignment is due and say, hey, Summer, hey, Ms. Ryder, I, completely am swamped and I really need, an extra day to submit this, just email me and we can work together to figure out, a deadline that's more appropriate for you and that will, best facilitate your learning and success in the class. And this is true for all students. So yeah, just email me and I will work with you, but otherwise I will be pretty strict with the due dates. So you guys have to talk to me if you need a deadline extension. And it can't be after the date. It can't be, oh, I didn't submit this 2 days ago and now I need a deadline. Well, at that point, it's kind of too late. So be proactive, talk with me. You guys can read over this. And here at the end is the course calendar. All assignments in this class are due on Saturday by 11:59 for the corresponding week, unless otherwise noted within this assignments due column. What does that mean? So for example, this is week 1. The Saturday is the 26th. During this week, you are required to read over the syllabus, read over chapter 1. The assignment that's due by Saturday at 11:59 for this class is that discussion board post and reply. 2 replies on the introduce yourself to classmates discussion board. So this assignment is due by Saturday the 26th by 11:59 p.m. Next week, you will have a check for understanding and your first classroom observation reflection, which will be due on that Saturday, the 2nd, by 11:59 p.m. Got it? So this course calendar is really your map to success in the class. In the past, I've taught several sections of this class online, and one of the biggest roadblocks for students is that they do not organize themselves in a way that sets them up to be successful. And so what I've tried to achieve with this course calendar is just to lay everything out that you guys will need to do. So you can say, oh, okay, we're on week 3. This week I need to be reading chapter 3, and I have a check for understanding due and a discussion board due. Okay, well, I need to make sure that I watch through the lecture to get the check for understanding question so I can post that by the 9th at 11:59 p.m. You see, that's the kind of thought process you can use when approaching this class, and this course calendar is really meant to be a tool for you guys. And I'll be checking into you guys specifically each week as well via the description of the module as to what you're required to do and how you're required to do it. At the very end of the discussion, at the very end of the syllabus are the rubrics. So here's that discussion board rubric that I promised you guys. It is within the syllabus, and I will also post another copy of it to the course resources tab, just so you guys have it in many different places. So again, rubrics, how to be successful on the assignments. You want to get full points, then you want to ensure that you meet the criteria. Classroom observation reflection rubric. Again, you want to include all the criteria. Even if you don't feel like they were maybe explicitly touched on during the video, you can just say that and maybe hypothesize as to why it wasn't shown in the video, or talk about why including that criteria may be beneficial for the classroom teacher. So for example, a common one that students don't write about is indicates whether objectives were stated, written, or understood. During class, we're going to talk about the importance of classroom objectives and why students should know what the classroom objectives are, and why teachers should even have objectives. So in a lot of videos, you'll find that maybe the objectives aren't explicitly stated. And just say that, no objectives were stated in this video. However, it would be beneficial because X, Y, or Z. Or if you didn't think that objectives would be beneficial and add something to the class, you could say objectives were stated. The teacher likely did this because X, Y, and Z, and I agree with the teacher because X, Y, and Z. So really, I want you not only to just give me a summary of what happened during the video, but I want you to interact with what you viewed and formulate your own thought on it, because this will be a good prep and a good process for you to go through as you are working towards formulating your own educational philosophy by the end of the semester. Then last but not least, educational philosophy paper, which we've talked about already. So a couple more tabs to go over, and then I will end this video. You guys are troopers. Thanks for keeping on with me. So the discussions tab, this is where all of your discussion boards that you will need to post in are located. I have made a general course discussion board called questions and answers. So if you ever have a question and you want to post it in an open forum, just go ahead and post it here, because chances are if you're having a question, your peer may likely have the same question. So if you post about it in a public forum, your peer can see the answer, and just the general knowledge of the class will grow as a result. I need to update this discussion board section a little bit, so this is not applicable anymore. Here we go. And then under the discussion boards post section, this is where you'll find all the discussion board posts you will need to complete during the class. So those 5 discussion board posts. All right. Under the assignments tab, you will find all the assignments that you are going to be uploading. So for the first check for understanding activity that's due next week, you will upload it here. This is fun. New assignment list experience. I'll have to check that out later. So quiz section, you'll find a list of the quiz that you'll be taking. Grades, you'll want to stay on top of this because it is an online class. You will not be receiving any physical copies of your grades, but I will keep this grades tab up to date. So you should never have a question as to what your grade is. I will try to be pretty prompt with getting those grades up. If you ever do have a question though, and it pertains to your grades, go ahead and shoot me an email. If you have a general question that you don't mind sharing in public, post to the general course discussion board. So D2L has that email feature. You can use it if you want to, but I definitely prefer good old regular IUP email because that's a lot of places for me to check. So do try to email me at the IUP email. However, if you forget and email me here via D2L, I will try to find it. I think that is it. So now we will switch gears and talk about why you should be so pumped that you are learning about educational psychology this semester and why I'm excited for you. And be sure to continue watching for that extra credit opportunity.